Hold on one second, guys. I want to make sure this is up and running. I thought that I had already started it. Okay. Let me put this in the group for everybody so that people can access this. Okay, so somebody said trading's been good for the people that's trading right now. All right, that should be up and running fine. Okay, so since that first part wasn't on YouTube, let me just reiterate the first part of what we said. Number one, I'm happy to be present with everybody tonight. And number two, if there's anybody who is messaging you or reaching out to you, telling you to send money, do not send it to them because I do not trade for anybody. So just another, just a whole clean house moment. And yeah, so just be mindful, don't send money to strangers. And also that's just weird. Like don't send money to nobody in 2025. There's a whole bunch of scammers out here, so just be mindful, okay? All right, so to the charts. Some people said trading is good. Some people said they haven't been trading because they've been busy. I've been super busy, but I have been putting on a few trades here and there in the midst of time, but only when I see super clear setups. Um, the market's been consolidating a lot on certain pairs, so we'll go over that tonight. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I haven't done fundamentals with y'all in a while. When is rate cuts? I feel like it's coming up. We had Jackson Hole Symposium. Y'all know I used to talk about that a long time ago, but we haven't really, I mean, it's past now, but let's go to
Like, okay, looking at that.
huh?
That must have been 3 hour like, but it was good because now it's instead of 4.7.
Hold on. Um, okay, I just pulled up Fed Watch. So we're at 16 days for next FOMC meeting. Um, look to see if they're gonna cut rates. I think, hold on, yeah, it always tells you here, 87% in favor of cutting rates, 25 basis points. So just be mindful of this. I mean, honestly, whether they cut the rates or not, just always follow your structures. It's always super important to pay attention to news. So be mindful. Like I said, 16 days. Also, this week we have uh well, I mean, unemployment rates and a whole bunch of other, it's a lot of news actually. Unemployment rates, we have, it's August 31st, so Friday's gonna be why am I having brain freezes right now? Friday
NFP.
is going to be, yes, non-farm payroll. Thank you. Non-farm payroll. So be mindful of that. Let's look at the market. Let's actually, wow, there's a lot going on this chart. Let me actually hide some things so we can go into where we are now. All right. So we'll start with GU because we always start with GU. I don't really even remember where we left off the last time we were on calls. I feel like
It was where that small blue zone is, and the green line is like the top of the trend line at the 50 retracement. Yeah, right there.
here, but I felt this was the target that I had, right? I vaguely remember because I was like, why is this purple line on here? So I
Yeah,
would
that was it.
okay, so yeah, price was here at that point, and then I wanted to see, oh yeah, I remember now. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, so yeah, we knew price was dropping here. I told everybody look for price to drop here and then see what it was gonna do. Um, that was like my first like area for it. Let's actually go into replay mode because we can always do a lot of teaching lessons while we're in replay mode before we continue forward. So we were here, we had not even had a retest or anything, or we had not even had a break of this at the time. So we were somewhere here. Oh no, price had dropped down a little bit because I told people to watch to see if price pulls back to the top of this or breaks and retests this area here. So this is where we were when we had finished the call, and I said once price drops down, I had this projection here. We did have that first impulse to draw that fib, which is why that small fib structure is on here for the smaller time frame. If you're new to my charts, just like for people who are like on YouTube and stuff, if it looks messy, it's a method to the madness. It's not intended to be messy. It's actually a beautiful story once you understand it. But so here the divergence, boom, boom, boom. So we knew like we had that first like somewhat impulse down. So point A to point B is where the fibs were drawn, pull back, and then we kind of had divergence here, but we wanted to see if this was going to test this area. Ultimately, we had a break and retest. This was somewhat green blocks, red blocks, blue blocks. There was a lot of consolidation in this area, so you kind of had to like really pay attention to catch it at that point. Speed this up. So we did have a break and retest of a trend line, but a cleaner one was the break and retest of blue blocks, red blocks, green blocks, and then ultimately that sell for the projected area that we had it, which was here. That. Okay, so now at this point, once this made a lower point, because this is actually what I wanted to go over last week. I had so last week when price started to form what I would call the continuation of divergence. Okay, so I don't go by hidden divergence because hidden divergence ultimately like it's kind of like SMAs and EMAs to me. Like somebody will say, oh, when an SMA crosses the EMA, you're supposed to get in because that's when the trend is changing. It's like that's not actually accurate, like long term. Or when people say, oh, when you have a doji candle, the market's going the opposite way. So I don't feel like hidden divergence is clean like regular divergence is. It's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but this neither here nor there. Now, the reason what I'm about to show you is somewhat important because I remember one time there was a trade, and some of you guys, if you hop on consistently, you might be able to know what I'm talking about because I don't remember the exact trade, but I remember like the premise of what we were talking about at the time, where there was a trade. I think the trade was actually a buy position that we were looking at, and I told people this looks like this is gonna like this divergence because it's made this higher point, this looks like this is about to keep diverging. So be mindful. Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. You said it could turn into like a major structure divergence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, keep that thought process because this kind of happened with this area here. So I'm explaining it so that when you guys are in it, you guys are kind of be able to see like the structure and how it flows. So this was smaller divergence. Now, you guys know not to turn this call into a divergence call, but this is just a teaching point that I thought about as I was explaining this. So I want to just go over it while we're here. Okay, so we had a smaller structure divergence here. Everybody knows smaller structure will beget smaller structure, bigger structure will beget bigger structure. So if you have a smaller structure, you're looking for a minor structure move. If you have a higher time frame structure, you're looking for a larger overall time frame move, right? So we had this smaller divergence form first. Boom, this push down. At the point where this started to make like this next point down, I'm like, oh, this looks like before it happened. So I'm gonna hide this. Actually, this might not even be on here too high. Nope, it's not. So let's delete it because I can always draw it back. So this was like once we made this next point, I'm like, okay, this was a negative 61.8, but let's see if we're gonna get a reversal or let's see if we're going to get a higher time frame divergence form. Now, the reason, if we look at this, as you see, GBP USD had ascended for quite some time. So when we were looking for the reversal of this structure, understanding that this smaller structure here, this retest of the high, which we first had this go to, you see how this is a smaller picture in the overall structure, right? Does that make sense? Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we understand, like when we talk about, this is just a point I need to say. When we talk about negative 61.8 being a reversal, we understand that on smaller structure, negative 61.8 being a reversal could be pullbacks opposed to reversals. Does that make sense? Because the smaller structures are making up the overall structure. That makes sense?
Yes,
Absolutely.
ma'am. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, can you
So
say that
smaller
again?
divergence will be a correction.
Yes.
For the person who said, can I say it again? What I mean is like when you have smaller structure, right? So typically when we're looking at our negative 61.8 and we're trying to see like, okay, this negative 61.8, we all know like negative 61.8 typically means reversal, but for higher time frame structure. When it is smaller time frame structure, you know that negative 61.8 can be a pullback because higher time frame structure isn't formed yet. Make sense?
Gotcha. Yep. Thanks.
Absolutely.
All right. So, so we started to have this formation form. So once this kind of broke this low point, we had that negative 61.8, but the negative 61.8 ended up being a pullback. Now, our only trade though, I'm kind of okay. So I'm excited right now. If y'all can't tell, like when I'm explaining something and I start going, sometimes y'all might have to slow me down because I could be like gone with a thought and then I have to regurgitate, like bring it back in and reel it back in. So if I'm talking too fast, just let me know and I'll slow it back down for you guys. But our only trade at the time was because I think we had drawn the bars. I don't know why the bar is not on here now. But I think we had drawn a bars pattern. So our only trade at the time was this, right? That was our first trade. Okay. Now, what I'm explaining to you guys is what do you do next? Like when you look at your structure, what do you do next? Like, how do you know when price is going to keep going or when we're going to reverse? Like, remember, trading is three things. Somebody tell me the three.
Where to get in, where to get out, where's it going?
Where's it going?
Come on. At least all right, so I could delete this purple line now. We don't need it anymore. TP was hit. Boom, there. Oh yeah, because I had sent a message in a group and said TP1 and TP was hit. Did I? I don't remember. Listen, when I say InvestFest was a lot, like between the kids, like it really took a lot out of me that past weekend. But anyway, so we came here at this negative 61.8. We wanted to see like were we going to respect these highs as resistance? But this was the first trade I told everybody once we get here, look to see what's happening. So here you have this divergence, boom. Now, the continuation, when I say, how do you know if we're going to keep going? When you look at this structure and you see structure and continuing to form, but then here we're making, like you see how we have a lower low, lower low, lower low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Y'all see that start to form there?
Yep.
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 High, lower, high.
These are all still, though, in the mist. There's still smaller divergences. Like this was just a like moves back to back. But you have to kind of really be experienced to be able to catch the smaller moves because each one of these was like a money grab to a certain extent. Like, what is this? So this first move down and then 50, probably 50 up until we had that big impulse up. But in trading, we all know like those short day trade moves, 50 pips is a good trade for a day trade move, right? So here, do you see how each one of these are three smaller divergences, but it made a higher time frame divergence in totality. So this here started to form a higher time frame structure. Y'all see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Be mindful when you're looking at these smaller time frame divergences, though, that do you see how when you had the smaller time frame divergence, how much of the move? Because y'all remember that time when I was talking about divergence and I said where it begins, you want price to end. Y'all remember me talking about?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So ultimately, this began here. You looking for price to pull back to this area. This began around here. You're looking for a price to pull back to that area. Where it begins, you're typically looking for price to end. So this smaller time frame divergence Boom, boom, boom. Each one, every time price to impulse up after the break and retest of that structure. So breaking and retesting would be somewhere along here. And then this would be, this isn't a clean trend line right here, but isn't as clean as the other one. And then that would be like your smaller retest on the other line. And then all it does is happen back to back. So let me play this out. Does anybody have any question about this before I continue?
Yes, Jen.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you, so you could actually take those scalp trades like as it's diverging on those on a minor like you could take those trades. Those are ideal like intraday trades to take.
Yeah, I would 100% take these, but you see what I mean about what I was trying to get y'all to just understand there. And I feel like I was very excited. So I'm trying to, because this is a bar, okay? This is a real bar if you practice it and catch it. Do you see how, again, smaller divergence, smaller move, smaller divergence, smaller move, smaller divergence, smaller move, larger divergence, big impulse up. You see?
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
It's a
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
that's excellent.
it's the perfect explanation for really understanding it long term because I think that like they were just all right there in one to explain together because sometimes like I'll say even in the course where y'all have like when you're looking at trend lines and I talk about how the minor structure trend line will break and retest before the overall trend line break and retest structure. Somebody will say, okay, I hear you, but what does that look like in real life? So when I always talk about how like you have minor structure divergence and a minor structure move, but then you have higher time frame divergence and the larger move, that was just an epitome of that in real life, all in one area, so people can see the difference and differentiate them to be able to understand it. Make sense?
Yes.
I have a
Yes,
question.
that was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does, I guess normally when I'm looking at the divergence, I understand what you're saying, smaller divergence versus larger. Well, no, I don't understand. So my question is, does it always play out like that? Because I'm not sure I've always been able to kind of see the smaller or separate the smaller move from the larger move. I would have just done one large, that's what I marked, one large divergence. How do you know that this is a smaller move and not just part of the larger divergence structure?
Well, first off, you'll see the smaller move before you ever see the larger move. Each small move movement before a large move. You don't see that first. That's why I'm explaining it like once you start to see highs and lows break or a structure break, like when I was saying in making reference to that previous call where in real life time, I'm only referencing that one because I remember in real life time messaging you guys in the chart talk group saying, hey, because I had broke down the divergence, the smaller divergence, because on the call, that's all we saw. And in real lifetime, I said, hey, the way this just impulsed up, do not hop into this sell right now because this looks like this is starting to be a larger time frame divergence. I remember like that whole like actualizing that in real life at the time. So I only made reference to it because of that. But the smaller move is always going to happen first. Like you don't know that that's not like when you just ask me a question, how do you know if it's going to be a smaller move? Because you'll only take the large. The large isn't there for you to take. It's going to be a smaller move first.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So there's always going to be multiple smaller divergence
No, no, no. That's why I just, when I broke this part down, like you can't say there'll always be smaller divergences before a higher time frame divergence. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm showing you this all at once because it's all in the same area for you guys to understand. So this is one example where it's all in one area for me to show you guys, for you guys to see it so that you can apply it because it's not like the market is not beautiful all the time, where it's going to look picture perfect pretty every single time. So no, there will not always be smaller divergences to make up a larger divergence. There will always typically be smaller trend lines to make up a higher time frame trend line. Like when you have a higher time frame trend line break and retest, there will be multiple trend line breaks and retests prior to that break and retest happening. But when you have a higher time frame divergence, that doesn't necessarily mean that there were a whole bunch of smaller divergences to make that. You know that there will be higher highs to make that if we're going into a sell, or lower lows to make that if we're going into a buy. But that doesn't mean that those lower lows were comprised of smaller divergences to make that. Did that make sense?
Yes,
Yes.
that part makes sense. I think my question was, so you had mentioned earlier, sort of once you had a break of the high. So are we saying that this break of the minor structure divergence high was your indication that it was a minor structure divergence, and that another one could possibly come in?
Well,
what, let
no, because you confusing the points. I had the break of the high on the reference that I was making that time that we were looking at a divergence that was an uptrend divergence breaking down to go into a sell. Right here, this isn't breaks of highs because this is a downtrend divergence going into a buy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the example that I was using, I don't want you to confuse that with what you're actually seeing. Because this isn't breaks of highs right here. Right here, we have lower lows being formed, but in the midst of these lower lows being formed, we had smaller time frame divergences, which were small buys that you could have taken advantage of. But these aren't highs being broken. It's just once this structure started to form, and then I saw this impulse like downward. Okay, who's drawing on my screen? Like, come on, y'all gonna make me block. And I feel like my students know that anyway. So either the link has been leaked, or because I don't understand. Okay. Did that make sense to you, though?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You sure?
Yeah, it does. I think to your point, I was probably confusing certain concepts. So I'm gonna rewatch this and articulate any questions that I may still have. So I'll sit with this for a while, and then we have our monthly call tomorrow. So if I have any follow-up questions, I'll ask.
Oh my God, it is the first of the month tomorrow.
But it's a holiday too.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
It's Labor Day though, Jessica.
It is Labor Day, but I'm supposed to be flying back to Atlanta tomorrow. So let me just change my ticket so we could do this call because
Yeah,
Wow.
um
Yeah,
That
I don't think it's being,
dedication is priceless.
yeah, I don't think it's being recorded on YouTube too. I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube.
what? It says record. Wait, can somebody check the link?
I was on YouTube and it was recording, then all of a sudden it
That
stopped.
dedication is
It says it's on there. It says 202
Mine still says live.
and
Oh,
2.
yours is live? Okay.
Yeah. Somebody check
Yeah,
the link.
yeah, it's still live. It's still
fine.
there.
It's still live.
I'm watching it.
Recording, then all of a sudden it
that
stopped.
dedication.
Okay, cool. Okay. All
You're
right.
still live.
So the main gist of what I was trying to get y'all to understand here, can y'all see my screen still or no?
No.
No.
All right, y'all can see it now.
Yes.
Yes.
So the main gist of what I was trying to get y'all to understand here was this whole concept of basically structure and understanding what's coming. And like, even you see how when I say Like this is a bar if you practice it. Like when I tell y'all, I just gave y'all a gym that just like I literally trade like this in real life. And when even when I talk about like I've said this many times before, but I don't really think people understand where I talk about like divergence, like where it starts. Price typically ends where it starts. Like look at this divergence and where it started. This structure starting here. And then once this had this impulse up, do you see how it started at the first peak of the divergence that started forming? Does that make sense?
I
Yeah.
don't really
It
see
does.
that. Can you zoom in? Because I don't know what you mean by
All right,
it's
so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over it in more detail
Or
on
just
on
annotate it.
no,
okay.
this is the thing, because it's really secret stuff that I shouldn't be giving out on YouTube. No way.
Okay. Okay.
We gonna remind me tomorrow to go over it in detail for y'all to really fully understand.
Tomorrow or Tuesday. You should just do the call Tuesday, Jess.
Um,
Or next Monday.
I don't like messing up the schedule.
But you already have your plan set. We don't want you to inconvenience yourself.
That's crazy though, because usually I wouldn't even plan like that. I don't even know what was on my mind. Listen, when I tell y'all the brain capacity that it takes for a husband and some kids and to just maintain myself and everybody else, it's like when I tell you, I feel like my mindset, I feel like God made me superwoman and I'm iconic when it comes
Yep.
to
You truly are.
Hmm.
when it comes to planning. Not even in a crazy way to say that, but I really sometimes I'll be like, girl, how did you do this?
Because we are superheroes.
Because I'm
Trust
running,
and believe.
I be running on 2 to 3 hours of sleep in it. And I'm like, what is happening? I didn't mean it in a crazy way because that probably sounds like very narcissistic to say that like that. But I really have to talk to myself like this to keep going. Like, girl, keep moving. You are iconic. Like, come on. Okay. But anyway, okay, so where we are now, let's talk about where we are now in price. Okay. We are literally in the midst of a lot of noise. Okay. Um, I obviously y'all see my fib structure, but what I'm looking at, I don't have a bars that I want to put on here right now. Well, actually, hold on, let me just take it a step back because I have this zone that I could draw out because even when our divergence reached its point, all we did was come down to this zone and then impulse up. So where we are now, y'all see I have this here, okay? However, I do still kind of want to see how structure forms next. And we could talk more about this again on the call tomorrow. Because where my structure is and where we're forming throughout here, right? Y'all see how, well, let me just draw this. I want to see if that doesn't pull back the way I want it to. All right. So what after okay, so I'm gonna give you guys step by steps, right? I probably should do this on the call, but I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna give y'all step by steps first. So if we look at this range and then we look at our zones. First off, I'm not taking no trade right now, up until the point where these highs and lows. Once we get out of this zigzag-ish part here of this zone, I want to see if we come to this bottom of this sub I'm sorry, hold on. Wait. Draw this back. Once we come to the bottom of this zone right here, let me just use the annotation so this could make sense. All right. If this doesn't break this here, like we just been back and forth right here, if you guys can see. So we just been literally just in this whole consolidation area. If we come to the bottom of this zone, I want to see this come to this trend line. At this trend line, obviously you have to wait to see if price respects or breaks. Best case scenario, depending on how price reacts here, this would be the easy route where it's just like, okay, this is doing this, this is clear as day, hands down, boom, right? So this is best case scenario. I'm gonna give you every scenario though, okay? Obviously, if it comes to the top of this, then it's here. That's what my fib is set for. That's what I'm set on. However, if we pull back after the range, like we don't know until the range is over. Like this is the thing about trading. It's like, remember, it's not if, it's when. It's like we really have to wait step by step. Once we come here and this, like, let's say it breaks below the zone and it comes here, make sure because this is a zone below that we don't come here and test here before going here. You understand? But all of these are
Absolutely.
still, it's still a lot of money to be made no matter which way we go. It's just until I have confirmation because of how we're literally in this range right now, like I can't tell you which way we're gonna go because I, like y'all know, I don't gamble. Like it's just when I move, you move just like that. When the market moves and tells me what it's doing, then I react to what price is showing me. But here, like it's different where like you see how here we had divergence to come here. Okay, cool. Like even when we had the divergence, it's like, okay, the trend line is our next stopping point because we have point one, point two. It was obvious, okay, this would be a point three. We know, okay, after a stopping point, we have rejection. We had divergence right here on a smaller time frame, rejection, and then pushed right back in this zone. But now that we're in this zone, we don't have divergence again. So we can't say we're selling right now. We don't have nothing. Like we don't have nothing to say outside of a fib and understanding structure. We don't have nothing to say this is about to push up right now or this is about to pull to this trend line right now. Like that's the part where when people say, oh, well, how do you know this and how do you know that? It's like you don't know. Like that's the part about trading. You don't know until you know, but you know your rules. Like the things that you know that you can control is you know your rules, you know your structure. You know your rules and you know your structure. Once structure shows you something based off of following your rules, that gives you the answer to what you're paying forward or what you're putting forth. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yep.
Okay. It's like context clues in school. It's really like context clues. But yeah. So that is that. Uh I haven't really looked at GJ in a while, but all of these I pretty much had going into buys for the most part. Gold, oh, this looks like this is diverging. Um, I don't even have this really marked up, but this looks like this is diverging now, actually. So if I had to say, I would say this is pulling back to about, I would give it to here before going higher, but just see around this area. I didn't really do a full markup on this, but still. Just looking at structure and how impulsed up that is. Midway, yep. Let's say to this little resistance area previous year. And this is just by like eyeballing it and doing like just, you know, uh, what would you say? What would I say? Again, rules, like divergence tells me, hey, I'm going. But then of course you gotta get confirmation of your little retest area. But I've just been mostly investing in gold, not really trading it lately. So yeah. But based off of GU, I just need more structure to play out really. Cause like even this, like we just pushed up heavy and you see how here, that's why I said we're in this range and you really have to wait until we get out this range to be able to like really see in totality what we're really doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, Jess, I had a quick question because I'm thankfully, thanks to your course, just getting to a point where like my fibs and my structure is on point. But when we talk about like the actual entries, I think that's more so where I'm struggling with. And when you talked about like price either coming down towards like that trend line, which also aligns with the 50 on the fib levels, or potentially breaking that trend line and going down lower before making a continuation move upwards for that buy. It's like, are you really just focusing on the RSI at that moment for divergence and wick rejections to be able to determine when to actually execute at those levels? Like,
Oh, typically I always execute on a break and retest unless it's something that's like very, very clear as day and it's like, okay, all my structure is there. But regardless, it's like I'm looking for confirmation of something before I'm getting into it. So let's just say, let me find a trade that I took recently and show you from there. Um, y'all can't see my screen no more, so let me share that. So I think this was a few calls ago where we were in this GU position here where price was consolidating. I'm only using this because price was consolidating here too. And it's like, okay, well, when do you know? Like, yeah, because we were on this I remembered it being on a call and we were trying to see if this was going to pull back or where this was going to pull back to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But these blue boxes were entry points. And it's like, once I got in this trend line break and retest, once I pulled it here, I literally, this was a zone at the time. So if you wonder, like, why did I get out here? I mean, how did I know price was gonna come here? I don't know why my zone's not on there right now, but this was a zone. You see respect, 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 respect all through here. So even this, mind you, this was a smaller time frame. So this was easily, I think this was like 45 pips. It was a smaller move, but I understood it was a small move based off of the position that I was in the first place. Um, this is consolidating, right? But me waiting on the break and then the retest of the structure here, then I had exhaustion at the retest. At this point,
Can you bring me Doritos out the closet?
Michelle, girl, your Doritos, you know you got your phone, your phone on mute. But you see how here, this was here? Then when I entered here, it's because once I got to this price and it was just exhaustion, 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 straight. Like like this is literally saying these are no more sellers in the market. Do you see that?
yes.
Yeah.
No more sellers in the market, no more sellers in the market. And then once you have that actual like break and retest of that area, it's like, okay, we're in there. Let's confirm. It's just you have to have the wherewithal because even when this doesn't happen immediately, right? So like in here, we consolidated a little bit before we pushed back up to that next level. And then it just comes to your stopping points. So all of these trades, like you see how here the exit was the net stopping point. You see that?
Yes.
So when I enter my positions, I'm like, first off, I set my alerts to know, so I'm not constantly staring at the market. I set my alerts to say, hey, I'm in the vicinity of price where you want me to be. Like when an alert gets hit, that's what I know once I see the alert. Price is in the vicinity of where I need it to be to execute a structure. Now, what is price telling me when I approach it? So remember your questions. What is major structure? What is a minor structure? What is there? Is there a breakup structure? Like, where are you on your fib level? Like, do you see weak exhaustion? Do you see, or do you have bullish momentum? Do you have bearish momentum? Like, what are all the things that you've learned, like, that are there? Like, then from there, that's when you execute and go further and further and further and further and further. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think the confusion, just really quickly, I know we're running out of time, but I think the confusion came where I actually was so excited because I actually took the trade. I took the idea when we did that break and it looked like it was a retest, break and retest last week, and it came down to that 786. And I took that trade, but I was holding it for like several days, looking for it to go ahead and go all the way up to that 61.8 instead of just scalping it and just taking my profits when it
No, girl. So that's the main thing that we talk about is like you can, okay, so what's the number one rule to trading, guys?
Trade what you see,
Trade
not
what
what
you
you think.
see, not what
See,
you
know what you
think.
think.
Okay, that is the number one rule. What's another rule? Like before you can trade,
Nothing is perfect.
yes, but no.
No.
Don't
What do
lose
you,
money.
okay, I'm sorry. In your trading plan, what's the first question you have to ask yourself as traders?
What is structure?
What type
Is
of
there a
trader are you?
break?
Yes,
Why am I taking
What
this
type of
trade?
trader are you?
no,
Intraday
yes,
or
Doug,
swing.
yes, Doug, Riley, both of you guys. Can you repeat it?
What type of
What type
trader
of
are
trader
you?
are you?
Yes.
Are
So
you an
what's the first?
impatient trader?
No, no, that wasn't it.
Are you an intraday trader, a
Intraday,
scalper, or
intraday
a day
trader, a
trader?
scalper. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the first thing. First thing is what type of trader are you? Are you an intraday scalper or swing trader? So some people are swing traders where it's like, I just want to enter this position and later on in the week or 2 weeks, like I know the long-term move, so I'm just gonna sit in here and just wait for this to happen. But if you're constantly looking at the market and you want it to hit between a few days, then you can't treat a intraday trade like a swing trade move. Your Fibonacci is there for your overall structure to understand where your overall structure is. But that doesn't mean that that's going to happen that day while you're in the market because there are many stopping points that happen before that overall move happens. And that you cannot control. Like if okay, let's pull up an example. Um did that make sense first off?
Yes, it must.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for instance,
Jess, if I may,
yes.
I could give them a little hint on how to help them with how to stay in a trade.
Uh, hold on.
Or
Let me
should you want me to wait for Monday?
yeah, let's wait for Monday, but I also want to finish my thought real quick. Because listen, I barely had I just want to make sure my brain is like when I tell you I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep, so I want to make sure I don't forget nothing in explaining. All right, so let's put a fib structure on here. Okay, so point A, point B, price hits 31.8, pushes to the first, then the second. Okay, so I'm gonna hide these divergences off so you guys can follow me and it not be too much on my chart. So we'll stick with that at first. All right, so let's say, well, this is still going straight down, so this probably isn't the best example, but I'm still going to use it for a second. All right, so you had the smaller structure divergence. I mean, you had the smaller structure fib that happened first, so we can do, actually, I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to just hide it off. So let's hide that smaller divergence, and then, I mean, not divergence, that smaller fib structure, and then you have the higher time frame fib. This hit negative 61.8. Came down a little bit into our zone, diverged a little bit, and then shot up. Okay, so now let's just use each of these areas, right? Somebody says, hey, I want price to go ahead and hit, let's see, I'm gonna come over here first. Let's say somebody sees this structure and say, I want price to go ahead and hit my negative 61.8 first, right? But in that they have this is straight selling for the most part, so this still probably isn't like the best example because it's a lot going on in here. But let's just say you were in this sale and you wanted price to hit your negative 61.8 first, right? You see how all these stopping points, meaning support and resistance throughout, again, we are continuously making lower lows and lower highs, so this probably isn't the best point. I probably need to find a more, actually, let me actually do that. Let's find a, actually, tell me where you were. So I could just go straight to where you were.
Okay, so I was right where you are now. Right where you are, where price news came out, I believe on a Friday, made that impulse move up. It caused break of structure right there, boom. And then so I was like, okay, we're going into a new week. Let me mark it up and let me wait for it to come back down and do a do a retest. And like it was like showing me, okay, structure is changing. Now we're moving into like more of an uptrend, right? Is that right? What I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I have the feel for uptrend for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my fib, that's where I was like, okay, cool, I'm on track. So when it came down to the 786,
Right here.
yeah, right there, boom. That's where I got in for a buy.
Oh, girl, you good. But then you talking about where it pulled back?
Yes, girl, I was in profit, and then I'm like, well, dang, like, okay, now it's pulling back.
Yes. Oh my God. Girl. Girl.
That's
Girl.
why I'm like, I'm having an aha moment, but I'm just trying to figure out how to like
Mark
navigate.
up your chart. Mark it all up. You got to mark it all up. You can't leave no pieces because you can't leave no crumbs. And when you don't got your I's dotted and your T's crossed, you're going to give your money back to the market every time. Listen, first off, the zone that I have at the high right here, what do you see? All the way left. This is support and resistance all throughout. And you also had a ringing alarm. Ringing alarm. Ring the alarm, okay? Girl, I need to play Beyonce's song for you right now. You had a ring, you had a ring the alarm that this was about to drop back down. What is your ring the alarm? Hold on.
Coming into it was a zone, a resistance zone, right?
It's the
Next,
divergence.
And let's
next
stand
stopping
channel.
point,
The
next stopping point
divergence.
and divergence and zone. Three confluences.
And you got in on a sniper move. That's an
I
excellent
only
Jess,
see
pivot.
two. What was the
Jess,
third one?
we can't hear you, Jess.
You can't hear me?
Now I can, but you were talking and I couldn't hear you before. I
Girl,
can hear you now.
I wasn't talking. I was singing ring the alarm.
Oh, okay.
You in the DMV, you got to do the go-go version.
Okay, listen. The alarm is right in front of your face. You wanted price. You wanted price to go straight to the Fibonacci, but that is not how trading works, guys. If you are deciding that you are going to be an intraday trader, this is not how it works. This is how it works when you want to do long term and you just want to sit in it. But remember, and I've told you guys this many times before, where do I, if the market is retracing, where do I pull my money because I don't want it to go beyond?
Next
Stopping
stop.
point. Next stopping point.
That's if I'm in a trade.
23.
Look,
PP1.
I always, my
It's
TP is
8.2.
my net stopping point. My net stopping point is always my take profit. Remember, you can have a fixed structure set up, but you don't know when price is going to get there. Girl, that entry was so beautiful. It hurts my soul that you gave that much money back to the market. But hopefully you stayed in it where you didn't. Did you pull it when you came back down because you got scared?
No, what happened was when it came back down, I added to my position at that 61.8.
Yeah.
But then when it went back up and it was Friday, and I'm like, oh man, we about to go into news. I want to close my trades out. So I just closed it out in profit, but I just still felt some type of way about it.
Well, listen, it's okay because that was a very smart choice. So give it up to you because you thought, and that is very smart. It's very smart that you added to your position right there, and it's very smart that you closed it up here because you were unsure. So kudos to you. Do not feel no type of way because you still made money from the market, number one. You protected your assets, number two. And even though you had this big ring the alarm moment that you did not take advantage of, it's still okay. It's still a-okay right here, okay? Because you still were smart in moving with your structure. But listen, the ring the alarm is for real, This is a whole support and resistance supply and demand zone right here, and you had divergence. This is literally an indication like ding, 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 I'm about to go the other way. Like, you see what I'm saying?
No, I for sure see what you're saying now, like where it's like diverging on that RSI, it's coming up to that zone. I think I was so focused on the structure and I was so excited about like finally having an aha moment last week with the structure and the fib that I just negate.
But you still had an aha moment with the fib because this is still a 23.6 right here. I mean, I'm sorry. This is still a negative 27 TP right here, but you have to understand, you're saying you have an aha moment with structure. You still have to see the structure inside of the overall structure because that's the part you're missing. This is a smaller structure, just like where we talked about the smaller divergences. I know I don't have a whole bunch of fibs on there because a whole bunch of people complained about my charts and said that they were too messy. So I try not to have like too much stuff on when I'm doing the YouTube calls because obviously those people don't understand everything. But do you see how point A, point B here? You see how this hit negative 27 and then pulled?
Let me see. Oh, you're saying how that minor fib that you just drew pulled down to the 23.6 and then went up and TP'd at that negative 27.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay, actually, let me draw it for you. Drawing it is gonna make more sense. I have so what were we just saying? We were in a buy. So let's draw this. All right, guys. This is a buy. I'm in a buy, and my buy, I don't know why my fibs are tripping. Like, they're not drawing on the way they need to draw. Okay, point A to point B, price. Here we are, right? You see that? Okay. So I have an overall structure for me. But in my overall structure, this is my overall structure. Actually, let me delete one of them. Let's keep coming here. This is still playing out. We haven't hit TP1 or TP2. But inside of this, remember, this is your assignment number 2. Let's use a different color. Inside of this, I have a fib structure.
Oh, I got you. Yep, downward and then upward, and those are all intraday setups.
Yeah, so remember, you can't be so set on major structure that you're not looking at, actually, let me do these different colors so everybody can see it different. You can't be so set on major structure that you're not paying attention.
Can't have tunnel vision.
Y'all see my fifth is not acting right. Negative 61.
Yeah.
There. Smaller fib there. Dang, my projections is A1. Come on, reversal every time. Yeah. I don't know.
No, just I promise I get it now. I get what you're saying. It's like riding the waves of the moves that's happening.
Smaller
And-
moves before the overall. So you see how, yes, the overall move for the red that you see in the background is still forming, but there are so many different smaller moves that you can take advantage of before the overall move.
Yep, I see it.
Okay.
But using the RSI real quick and I'm done. Using the RSI, using the divergence to be able to determine, along with obviously, using just putting it all together. Like when I hit a TP on that minor structure, looking for divergence to pull back for it to set up on a major structure, like riding the waves inside of the major structure, but looking for divergence as it's hitting those CPs to be able to determine where it could potentially pull back on major structure, right?
Okay.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so I need y'all to remind me tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow, remind me to go over divergence. Remind me my thought about that. I'm literally running on 2 hours of sleep, so my memory is not the best right now. I don't even know if y'all can tell with my energy. I literally took 2 espresso shots before this call, so if I feel like if y'all seem like I'm like this, it's because I really am. Okay. Um, that's one. And number 2 is remind me to go over what was it? See, what did you just ask me? See, this is real
Kind
bad.
of like talking about major structure and the minor structure moves that happen within major structure.
No, that's not what it was.
I think Doug wanted to go over something, and you said to do it on Monday.
You were gonna go over the divergence.
Entries.
Yeah, I
She
think you said
mentioned
Monday.
entries.
Entries. Yeah, remind me of entries and divergence tomorrow. I need to get some sleep, y'all. I'm literally on fumes right now. But yes. So,
Jess, this was great. Thank you so much.
oh, thanks. Okay. So that makes me feel better because when I tell y'all, I was like, God, please give me your energy because I do not have the energy right now, Lord. Please give me your energy. I literally went to Starbucks and I was like, I got something called a brown sugar shaken espresso, and it was 3 shots, and I told them only give me 2 because I don't want to be zooted, okay? Especially before bed. But yes, so
We appreciate you so much.
no problem. I appreciate you guys and I love you.
Great call. Thank you.
No,
Thanks for showing up and showing out.
of course.
Yeah, welcome back to the DMV.
Thank you, Jess.
All
As
right.
usual, thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Get
Jess.
you some rest.
Somebody had their hand raised.
Yeah, Catherine had her hand raised.
Catherine.
Catherine,
Call tomorrow night. I can ask tomorrow night on our call.
you sure?
I promise you it's not.
Okay, so
I
please
promise.
remind me, Catherine tomorrow, guys.
Mhm.
Catherine, Doug, Divergence.
And entries.
Okay.
We love you. Thank
Thank you so
you.
Hey,
much.
Jess.
Yes.
Thank
Tomorrow.
Get some
you.
Have a
rest.
good night.
I love you
Thank you,
guys.
Jess.
All right, bye,
Have
guys.
a good night,
Jess,
Jess.
just before
Bye.
you hang up, one little question, Jess, if I can. I just wanted to make sure that is automated students allowed to be on a call as well?
That's what it's for. It's for us.
It's y'all call.
No, I'm talking about for Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for all the automated
It's
students.
for
Automated
automated
students.
students.
Yeah, it's for animated students.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.